This conference was originally inspired by a paper that came out about 11 months ago, written by V Sponeck, who was the UN humanitarian coordinator for Iraq, which he wrote for the Transnational Foundation for Peace and Future Research, which is a Scandinavian think tank on these issues. As I said earlier, it's very unfortunate at short notice that V Sponeck is not able to be here today, but he did send us a statement, which I will now read out. 1. The military occupation of Iraq has been a failure on every level. We need to learn the lessons, lift the occupation as soon as possible, and develop policies for reconciliation and normalisation. To that end, TFF have developed a 10-point plan. First, withdraw foreign troops and mercenaries and bases. Second, respect Iraq's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Third, establish an international peace-building mission under UN leadership led by civilian humanitarian actors with no military personnel from the occupying countries. Fourth, cancel all Iraq's debt. Fifth, compensation for sanctions, the war and the occupation. Sixth, full sovereignty over oil revenues, including 100% of, full sovereignty over oil resources, including 100% of the revenues. Seventh, make the whole Middle East a zone free of weapons of mass destruction. Eighth, establish a truth and reconciliation process. Ninth, organise people-to-people cooperation and civil society exchanges. 10th, a long-term regional conference to resolve all regional conflicts. Secondly, this peace plan has been distributed to a number of NGOs in different parts of the world and discussed with the Executive Director of the Global Policy Forum in New York. GPF have been very active over the years in portraying at regular intervals detailed reports on conditions in Iraq. 3. These conditions remain deplorable. The alleged success of the so-called surge policy of the US government is measured, I would argue, by what I call an immorality index. To insist, as US Ambassador Crocker and US General Petraeus do, that there is progress in Iraq is totally misleading and, in a way, immoral. For US authorities, progress is that in June-July 2008, compared to the year before, instead of 1,000 plus Iraqi civilian deaths a month, less than 1,000 are victims of violence in Iraq, and that instead of 100 plus USGIs, less than 30 have died in the same period in 2008. The withdrawal of foreign troops and the concurrent introduction of measures to fill the gap remain urgent. That is, peace talks must start as soon as possible, involving the full spectrum of Iraqi society. 4. The Helsinki Initiative for former President of Finland, Martti Ahtisaari, is an important corollary initiative in respect to the peace and reconciliation discussion, but skewed towards political parties rather than the wider public. 5. The TFF initiative, starting with a draft 10-point plan, is evolving. The intention is to obtain support from like-minded groups that have also been active in suggesting an end to the occupation and a beginning of a peace process. Such support is forthcoming. 6th, justice and accountability hold for all, not just the losers and the weak. To have court cases against those in the pre-2003 Iraq government who are culpable is not only justified, but must be part of the peace and reconciliation in Iraq. Peace and reconciliation with Iraq, however, is not possible unless those outside of Iraq who have committed crimes against Iraq in the years of sanctions and again by an illegal occupation and invasion also face justice. I would add this as point 11 of the TFF plan. The Stockholm Tribunal of the 1960s for Vietnam could serve as a precedent for similar war crimes tribunal for Iraq. 7. The TFF peace plan debate has identified Dennis Kukonin, member of the US Congress, who before TFF had himself worked out a 12-point peace plan for Iraq. Good contacts exist with Dennis Kukonin. He has agreed to participate in a round table with those who have published constructive thoughts on an Iraq peace initiative. I emphasise constructive thoughts. Proposals for peace by Senator Biden, chairman of the US Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and former US Ambassador Galbraith for a three-state solution for Iraq are not constructive. They are irresponsible proposals void of understanding of Iraq's reality and history. Lastly, the preparation of a closed round table on an Iraq peace process is at a stage at which participants, venue and costs are being defined in the hope that an autumn event, possibly in Washington DC, can materialise. The objective would be to prepare a peace plan draft which incorporates proposals from all the available Iraq peace initiatives. Once this has happened, the revised peace plan will be broadcast as widely as possible to engage the public, governments, inter and non-governmental organisations, and very much Iraqis, in a debate and a lobby for change. I hope your work today can contribute to this process. Hans von Sponeck, 18th July 2008.